Okay, good morning to all of you guys. I welcome you to model number 7 called My World in Another Languages. It's pretty important for us to communicate and try to follow the structures regardless the importance of the dynamics that is this model need to be attended. I know that maybe you have uh, level of comprehension or that you have maybe before courses or you are trying to fulfill the requirements in this model. I know that you have passed model number 6. That's why you are moving on model number 7. It is important that when we are trying to fulfill those requirements I mentioned, you try to be on time and try to give me the possible questions or doubts that will arise when you are finishing or trying to finish your activities. I'm gonna open the side of a platform of the Prep Online and try to give you some information that you could help out um, in terms of give you that idea or try to give you a line of work. Okay. Uh, Starting with the learning forum, I'm going to say that it is in a line or it is a set of questions that you um, maybe uh, you could use in a whole. Okay, now when you are fulfilling those requirements, in this case, like these ones, okay, you finish, you present, and you answer. By now, I have some of you that answering, and I giving good we'll say positive vibration. It's okay. But remember, in learning forum, you have to follow those instructions and trying to fulfill the instructions. Okay? And fulfill them, it means that just try to answer or try to give the idea that you are understanding those things. Um, Going to the Okay, to the integrative activities, in this case, for example, number one, as I say, some of you asked me, teacher, okay, those questions have to be answered in English. Yeah, that question, the answer is yes. It's yes, because as I said before, you need to, at some point, you need to follow um, the targets objective or the goal in this case is that you have to practice your English and the instructions. I told your mate your friend, okay, if you want to check if you are doing good or you are um, at this case you are trying uh, to know exactly what is going to happen when you are working. I recommend, I give you the advice of to check the rubrics, and the rubrics is at the bottom of your page. Okay, there are four areas, four spaces that try to cover what you are presenting, what you are performing. In this case, you have to consider those four areas of opportunity. Okay, there are the cognitivo area, there is the actitudinal, and there is the comunicativo and the pensamiento crítico. The good thing in this case is the instructions in the rubrics are in Spanish. That's why you could easily follow the idea of doing this. Okay, it's necessary for you to read it and try to check the part of uh, the level of um, the level of expertise In this case, there are five and six of them. No evaluable, requiere apoyo, aprendiz, aceptable, capacitado, experto. I always try to rule out your assignments, your assignments, your finished assignments, trying to cover what you are doing. If you are doing or you are trying to do the activities following these instructions and checking if you are following in a perfect set of examples, and not only just to finish the activity. Okay, I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to uh, okay, it asked me for a drawing, it asked me for examples, but you are not following this rubric. In this case, you could easily fail. One of the things that I always say is read the level of experto and trying to check all the four levels. Okay, all the areas have to be covered. For example, in this case, you have to follow un experto, like say, a partir de la observación, redacta en inglés una respuesta específica a las primeras 6 preguntas que aparecen en el documento. Remember, English. Y luego dice, escribe dos preguntas claras relacionadas con los personajes de la pintura en idioma inglés. Another thing. And finally, integra la liga de un mensaje de voz en inglés. I mean, all the things you have to perform, all the things that you have to understand, and the things I'm going to revise have to be done in English language. And that's how your score is going to be down or it's going to be up. If you covered all of these things as an experto, you're going to receive uh, 40 points, 40 points only in la parte cognitiva. I don't feel um, acquaintable to explain what is a cognitive space. That's why, because you are given those descriptions in this case, okay, in every level of expertise, what you have to cover, okay, what you cover in this case. For example, if I read in the cognitivo area, the capacitado level is descarga el documento a partir de la observación, redacta en inglés una respuesta, generar las primeras 6 preguntas que aparecen en el documento, escribe 2 preguntas y en un máximo de 30 segundos entrega eh, una apreciación auditiva, okay, in what you are describing. I mean, if this picture is a painting where you can see some people having a dance or some people talking in a dancing hall. I don't know. I mean, you have just to check out. You have to see and describe it and record it. For example, if I'm going to a lower level, in this case, for example, requiere apoyo. For example, in this case, in the first activity, it says, descarga el documento El baile del mono a partir de la observación de la pintura presentada. Redacta en inglés una respuesta vaga a 4 de las 6 preguntas. Escribe 2 preguntas superficiales relacionadas con los personajes de la pintura y no integra la liga de su audio. In this case, this is an important thing to have to take into account. For example, some of you have Drive, some of you have Bucaro, some of you have MP3 recordings, MP4 recordings. There are another listen extensions, for example, GGGo, WMA. I mean, there are many extensions, but remember, it depends on the cell phone, it depends on the device, the electronic device you are recording the activity, and that's the extension of listening things that you are going to have in a final stage. I don't know if your cell phone is a Nokia, is a Samsung, is Alcatel, maybe an iPhone. I mean, it doesn't matter what is the label of the cell phone you have or the device you have. For example, you have a speaker or you have a listen or recording device, for example, there are pequeñas grabadoras usan los reporteros. Okay, you have to revise what is the extension that you are going to obtain out of this recording. I have like 3 or 4 decodifiers, and I could easily extract some of the extensions in your listening file. But for example, I have found some extensions with some cell phones. It's not your fault, okay? It's not your fault. The cell phone that you have is good for your use and for the things you are probably have to use it for work, for calls, for sending messages, for using WhatsApp, for checks Facebook. I'm not discussing that. There are good things and there are the activities that you use at your cell phone. But in this case, for the recording thing, you have to check maybe in the guide of the cell phone or checking on YouTube or checking on Google and Google what are extensions that you are obtaining out of the cell phone, out of the device you are recording. Because I have found some extensions that's simple. My decodifiers are just vague. I mean, they don't work out, and I won't have any sound out of the file. If you have Drive, you have to give me permission to revise what you are sending to me to revise. Because in some case, I just click on the link that you sent, and there are no sounds, there are no files, and there is no chance for me to revise you. That's why maybe you're gonna have 24 points, and I'm gonna give the feedback that you don't integrate, you don't add the link, you just don't set up the listening activity. Okay, and maybe you're gonna say, "Oh, come on, teacher, what are your problem?" I mean, I'm sending the information, I'm sending what you asked me, and now you are saying that just don't work out. So please, what is the advice in this case? Record your activity in English and try to play it out of the cell phone in another cell phone. For example, send the file to another cell phone for WhatsApp, or save the file on the computer, play it on the computer and play it in another computer just to check the file is working on. If it does work out, if you do listen the file you record, that thing is a good file for me to revise, and I'm going to obtain what I'm looking for, which is your practice in English uh, language. Okay, so that's the first thing in the first activity that we have to take into consideration. I mean, I'm talking about the integrative activities. Both integrative activities have a different rubric. As you can see, there are two different activities, so that the rubrics has to be different. Just I'm going to give or why the information in the activity in the integrative activity number 2. Okay, let's go to it. Okay, this is module 7 block.